Hey guys, Kevin here to bring you a brand new video. For today, we're going to be talking about a particular TV show that I've looked into quite a bit with a list of episodes. This show is a very peculiar show that's different among others. Black Mirror. All the episodes are completely separate from one another. There are like some Easter eggs that like show off different episodes and other ones, but other than that, they're pretty unrelated, and they each have their own story. And because of that, I thought it would be interesting to kind of analyze and see what I thought was the best 10 episodes because of the story they told, because of how enjoyable it was to watch, how the ending was, and just how good the characters were and whatnot. So I have made a list of 10 of the episodes that I thought were the best and that I would recommend watching. Now, this list is very subjective. What you think is the top 10 could be a lot different from what I think is the top 10, and it could be a lot different from what like websites think is the top 10. But I'm sure a lot of you could probably agree with some of these at least, because a lot of them are really good ones that got like pretty high acclaim. I imagine the order might not be most agreed upon. Even I had a lot of trouble coming up with the order. I apologize if it's dark in here. There. It's daytime, so it's kind of weird how it's dark in here. But all right. Well, let's start at number 10 because we'll work our way up to the top. So at number 10 we have Nosedive. Now, Nosedive is an interesting episode that I wouldn't say is for everybody, but it's a relatable episode that some people could relate to. It's good if you're like one of those people who like wants approval and just like worries about what others think about them, because it centers around this girl who just wants to be accepted by others to help gain like a high rating. So if you do something nice to someone, say, they'll give you a 5-star rating and you'll go up. And she wants to like climb those ratings, but she takes it a little too far and she ends up nosediving. Well, not doing so well, and she has to deal with that. And it just shows what could go wrong if you really seek approval too much in that. And that's kind of cool for me because I could kind of relate to that, because I could be her. Because I tend to seek approval online a lot. Maybe not that much like she did, but a good amount. So it was a cool, relatable episode. The next one on the list would have to be number 9, Playtest. That's my cat over there. Playtest was an interesting episode for sure. The ending was not the most desirable for sure. It was definitely not for the faint of heart, the ending. But nonetheless, it was unexpected, it was surprising, it was very thought-provoking and interesting episode, and the character was great. Wyatt Russell, who is Kurt Russell's son, was the main character in this, and he did a really good job in this episode. Like, when he wasn't showing fear, when he was trying to say that he wasn't intimidated, like, you can't intimidate me! Because like he was like in this like test room that would basically try to test how scared he would get of this whole situation, and like and then when he gets like all scared, like he just really acted the character well, and the story was really intriguing because it's at the end it's really not what you expect out of it, but it was really cool to begin with because it was like this guy goes into this like simulation. And then he has to like, I don't know, find a way out, kind of. It's complicated, but it was a really cool episode. Number 8, I would have to go with Archangel. Archangel was also a pretty relatable episode that wasn't all that unrealistic compared to like what's going on today with parents. It's about a parent who's kind of like a helicopter parent. She always wants to keep watch of her kid. Her kid goes missing when she's really young, so she signs up for this program that allows parents to keep track of their kids constantly on like this iPad-like device. But the problem is she can't seem to let go of it, and she keeps it all the way up until she's in like high school, and like she has to deal with like her wanting to be independent, and it's just like a good relatable story because you know when you get older as a person you want to be able to just like do stuff on your own and just like be independent, but there's still like that attachment that could come from those parents who want to always know what you're doing, and it's even more prevalent in this because she has this thing that can track her, so she becomes like attached to knowing where she is. For a while she doesn't even look at this iPad thing. She lets her kind of go on her own, but because she starts getting older and doing more things on her own, she gets all paranoid and wants to keep track of her. So it's really interesting to see that development in a technology sense of the matter. Well, that one was really fun, despite the mother being frustrating at times, I suppose, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was a great episode. The ending was pretty good. I thought the ending was pretty fitting. I wouldn't call it a great ending, but it was, I mean, okay. It wasn't a good ending, but I really liked the ending. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah. The next episode is the shortest episode in the series, which really packs a punch for being only 41 minutes. Metalhead. This one was not one of my favorites, but it was really good. I didn't understand why it was in black and white the whole time. Maybe it was because they were in like a post-apocalyptic wasteland or something. I don't know. But basically, these group of people try to get these supplies for this person they want to deliver them to, and underneath the box that they try to steal is this robot that wants to hunt them down, and this robot is really sophisticated and well armored, and it's really hard to defeat, and it's like a little dog almost that like tracks people down and like uses its pincers to like slit people's throats and whatnot, like, and it's really fast, and you can't just like hit it with something and expect it to get killed because it's metal, so it's hard to defeat. But needless to say, all I'll say is in the first 10 minutes, fat rip. But one character does come through, and against odds, she does really well against this thing, and it's just really cool to see. You know, she was kind of like the underdog against this thing because this thing was so powerful, and she does a lot of great things to, just stay alive. But yeah, I won't say any more about the episode because I kind of really revealed a lot about it right there. I apologize if I spoiled it a little. The next episode that I want to look at is White Christmas. Now, this one was unique in that it wasn't part of the regular season. It was like a special, but it is considered to be part of season 2 technically, but I don't know. So, White Christmas is an interesting episode with Jon Hamm, who I'm not particularly that fond of, but I did really enjoy the episode because of the concept. Basically, two guys each tell their stories, and unexpectedly they come together at the end. These two stories, they collide, and it turns out like they were all interconnected all along, and it's not what you would expect out of it. You thought it was just two guys telling stories that were friends with each other, but it really wasn't. I really can't say too much about it, but all I'll say is that the ending is pretty mind-blowing, and it's really cool episode. Being that it was a Christmas special and I watched it in April, it was a great episode. I will say that. I don't know what else to say. Just watch the episode. Next episode is USS Callister at number 5. This one was really good. It wasn't the best, but it was really, really good for its concept. I wasn't that interested by it at first, but when they get into the ship and you really notice that they're living inside of this thing and they're trapped. You really start to like understand these characters and feel for them, and you get to see like how much of a dick this guy Robert Daly is. And I will say the ending is not the best. I mean, it's not a great ending, but like I thought it was the appropriate ending. Again, that sounds weird because the thing about Black Mirror is a lot of the endings just aren't that good. But sometimes they aren't that good, but you really like the fact that it ended that way. And I really like the fact that it ended this way. I will say it was cool. Really fun concept of traveling within a simulation, even though these people weren't the actual versions of themselves. I will say I'm not a big fan of Star Trek, but I mean, even then, like, I still enjoyed the episode with just, I don't know, everything it did with these characters trying to make it out, even though they weren't even the actual versions of themselves. It was just a cool concept. The next episode I have to look at is from season 1, 15 Million Merits. This is one of the OG Black Mirror episodes that really got me into the show. It was really good because, for one thing, it had Daniel Kaluuya, who is from Get Out. He's a really great actor, and his portrayal of the role in this movie, I mean, in this episode, is really good. For one thing, he screams really loudly at one point on a stage in front of people, and that's just like, it takes some real like acting chops to be able to do that. And he just did the part so well, and what his character wanted, and what it meant to him in the society where people would go on this show and like they'd have to like spend merits to get on this show, and he wanted to get on the show just to make a statement, and that's what he ends up doing, which is really cool. And yeah, well, I guess everybody else was all immersed in this technological world, but he just wanted something that was more real, like this relationship with this girl that he could have had, but he couldn't, and just like, he wanted to live in a more real world. And yeah, so he goes on the show to kind of like make a statement, I guess, which is really cool. I really admired it. It was kind of like a rebellious character that I liked, and I could relate to that because I might act out the same way. Maybe not so aggressive, but I might be a little bit more rebellious against that, like big advancement in technology like that. Number 3, Black Museum. Now, this one is the last episode of season 4, episode 6. This one, at first it wasn't what I expected when I was first watching it. I thought it would turn into something else with, like, I don't know, relating back to old episodes or something. But it turns out it told a lot of stories about what this guy was doing with people, and at first you think it's not all that bad, but then you realize it's actually kind of dangerous what he's doing to all these people and what he's performed. And at the end you realize that well, maybe he's not the good guy, and the good person is actually the black girl who visits the museum. And then it all comes together. Everything that he's done comes back to him, and in the way it ends is just beautiful because of the backstory and knowing that well, I can't say too much, but let's just say that the black girl comes to the museum. The characters there were connected to her, so it was really cool that she got to come back. And let's just say it was a happy ending. I'll just say that. Yeah. The next episode is San Junipero. This episode isn't for everybody, but it was really one of my favorites. It is definitely top 2. I stand by that decision to make it my number 2 pick, because it's a romance story about 2 women who fall in love. For the first 30 minutes, you're like, well, what the hell does this have to do with Black Mirror? Because I don't see any like advanced technology in here. So what's the deal? Like why is this Black Mirror? Well, when you get 30 minutes into it, you realize that it's not what you expected it to be, which is a pretty mind-blowing revelation in my opinion, well, I don't know if you would call it mind blowing, but it's pretty like, okay, I did not expect that. And then like, and then just how it ends and how it plays out with these two characters, it's just great. It's a heartfelt story. I know not everybody's, for heartfelt stories and whatnot, but it's a very good heartfelt story that I really enjoyed. It's one of the few Black Mirror episodes that had a really great ending, like that I like too. And that brings me to number one, White Bear. This episode is one of the first that I watched, and I've always kind of stood by the statement that it was my favorite Black Mirror episode, despite its dark twist and very dark ending. But the thing about it that really gets me is that in this episode, when you think about like what would it be like to be in her position, you start to get some empathy for what it would, for her, and like what it would be like, and you're like, wow, that would like be crazy if that actually happened to me. And it's just so intense throughout the whole episode. The whole episode is like non-stop intensity. Like it's all insane. And yeah, I mean, like for me, like what makes a TV show or movie great for me is when like every single part of the movie is like just non-stop thrilling intensity. Every piece of dialogue is interesting. Everything is relevant. I know I don't mind the idea of a slow scene, but I like it if it had relevant subject matter in it that was relevant to the story. And like with this, everything felt so like connected, and like there wasn't like a single dull moment, and the twist is just insanely mind blowing, and it's just a mindfuck episode that's amazing. Oh my god. And you really feel for this character, but it's a great story nonetheless. And that's why I put White Bear at number one. So I have to mention these other episodes really quick. This video is going to be really long, so I'm just going to mention these other episodes and what I thought of them. Honorable mentions: Hang the DJ, a great love story about expiration dates on relationships and these people who rebel against it. Really good story. Also kind of a romance story, but the very end is surprising, and it was very enjoyable episode. Next was the National Anthem. This was the first episode of season 1, so it was the pilot. Being the pilot, it was great. It showed what Black Mirror had to offer, and it really gave you a sense of what the show was going to be like. It was a pretty messed up episode. I mean, it's about a guy fucking a pig, but I mean, it gives you a sense of what it's like, and what it's like with all that technology. I think it's the perfect introduction to the show, honestly, and it did great. Okay, now I have to mention the other episodes. I'm just going to go through them because there's only like 7 episodes left to mention. So, Hated in the Nation was an hour and 30 minutes long. It was a long episode. It was kind of interesting. Maybe I don't feel like it needed to be so long, but it was fun. Basically with these bees that try to track people down and kill them. It's pretty enjoyable, I guess. I don't know. It's just it kind of dragged on in a lot of parts. It was a decent episode though. Be Right Back. That was good too. Probably my least favorite romance story, to be honest, just because I don't know. I didn't see the interest in getting this guy back as an AI. I just didn't see it to be that interesting. It was kind of enjoyable, I guess, but I don't know. I kind of grew to hate the character, the girl, a little bit. This next episode was my least favorite. I just could not understand it for the life of me, and I just never wanted to be interested in it. And from the moment I watched it, was The Entire History of You. It's about this guy who gets memory implants. I don't even know. I was just never interested in it. It's honestly my least favorite episode. And then the Waldo moment. That one was alright. It wasn't very scary or violent at all, but it did show, it did accurately predict the Trump presidency more or less, because it showed like I don't know, like an anti-politician guy who didn't even really want to run for president, being president and almost being elected and like he didn't even have like policies, but he almost got elected. So that was kind of interesting to see that relation a little bit. Crocodile. This episode was also one of my least favorites, just because of the main character in this is really annoying, and I really grow to hate her for what she did in this, and it's only ever good at all at the very end of the episode when it's actually like decent. It actually ends decently, but even then you're like, you know, it just wasn't enough to serve justice to this character for what she did, because she was just such a fucking bitch. Like, god damn it, I fucking hate her. Shut Up and Dance, that one was good for a while. This was actually the episode that I think had the worst ending, that I really, really hated. I kind of enjoyed the episode throughout, but the way it ends is just really, really stupid, because this system basically makes these people do all these things in order to survive, but they do all these things, but let's just say it's not what you expect, and the way it ends is just really dumb. I wouldn't say it was one of my least favorite episodes. It's just kind of in that middle ground. Like, I enjoyed it for a while, but the ending was just disappointing, so I kind of give it like an average rating. Men Against Fire. This one was kind of fun, I guess. I don't know. The character was kind of interesting, but the way it ends is just frustrating for me more than anything. It's not a good ending, but the ending is frustrating to me, the way it ends, and seeing the character rebel against the system that makes him kill people. So they basically see roaches, these things called roaches, which are things that they want to kill, but it's the system that's making them think they're roaches, even though they're not. So they're killing real people, but they don't know they're killing real people. And this guy realizes it and tries to rebel against the system, and yeah, but the way it ends is just, not a fan. I think that's the last episode. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, overall, a great series. Most of the episodes are like. There's only 3 that I probably didn't like that much, which were Crocodile, the Waldo moment, and the entire history of you. Everything else was decent at least, or a really great episode that I thoroughly enjoyed. I think Black Mirror is a very good show that I've enjoyed watching, despite all its mindfuckery and the way the endings were, because a lot of them aren't great, and how messed up the episodes are, and the variety of stories each of these tell, because each of these stories is so much different, but I enjoyed the majority of them a lot. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's pretty long, but yeah, hope you have enjoyed. Alright, well, I'll see you guys in the next video.